Hey, good evening, guys. Kenneth Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for Saturday, April 15th, 2023. So before we get into the weekend swing trades, I just want to take 1 minute and say I just posted an opportunity that's going to last for about 24 hours because I'm under a time crunch upgrade my own access to ChatGPT and the Koala Writer. So in the next 24 hours, I have an opportunity to probably double or quadruple the access that I have to their program to produce large quantities of goodness. And so this link allows you to be a member of the initial cohort of students. And so if you're part of the initial cohort, you're going to be able, in the next 24 hours, you're going to be able to buy this course at a significant discount. In the future, I plan to price this at $5,000 for a lifetime access. And I don't know how long I'm going to hold that open at 5,000. I will probably go to a subscription basis where you get access to all the material in the OWL library for as long as you maintain the subscription. But in order to raise the capital for accessing the increased output, I need to get a first movers option in here. So if you're one of the first movers, you're going to get not only lifetime access to the course. So the course is going to be an OWL wisdom course, and in that, we're going to have a working list of essays that we want to read about the world, and not just in investing and trading, but everything. So we've got access to the world's knowledge through a combination of two programs, ChatGPT 4 and the Koala Writer. And both of these are really powerful. ChatGPT 4 is limited access right now, and but I'm working with some guys that have a commercial access to it. And Koala Writer is another piece of software that sits on top of GPT-4. And what Koala Writer does is has internal templates that allow us to do a very structured query to get the kind of an essay that we want to read. And that triggers it into GPT-4, and then Koala Writer takes the GPT-4 output and turns it into a very readable article in various tones and styles that we want. Plus, it produces links to the sources that GPT-4 used in the creation of that input for the article. And Koala also gives us access to live links to trending information on Google, YouTube, and Amazon. So that live data is actually more current than a lot of the stuff that GPT-4 looks at. So we're getting live insights, and then that feeds into Koala to produce these essays. So my intention is to have a database of essays that are built off a priority list that the initial cohort gets to vote on. So the initial cohort is going to be the voting block that gets to nominate titles. Like here's one that it just wrote a few minutes ago from one of the founders. What are the three most comprehensive measures of rates of change for stock market trends analysis? And this gives you an unbiased deep dive in about 2,000 words or less that also includes practical applications and points of departure for further interest. So I've been experimenting with this, and I've already got about 50 essays of all types already written. Some of them are trading, some are psychology, some have to do with Socratic questioning, some has to do with systems thinking. I use this system of Koala Writer and ChatGPT-4 to study my own writing. I asked it to give me a 2,000-word article on Dr. Ken Long's best teachings on how to manage fear and greed. And in 2 minutes, I had a 2,000-word article that picked 5 of my best ideas. I used that essay of 5 big ideas about fear and greed, and then added a few of my own notes from after I received it from my staff, and then that became show notes for me to use in a 90-minute presentation to the Alpha Mind podcast. Now, these are guys that are associated with the London-based Society for Technical Analysis, and they've been in the business of training traders psychologically for almost 40 years. And they were blown away by that podcast. I think it's going to be released next Wednesday. But the point is that the combination of my work personally, plus the work of ChatGPT-4 and Koala, all taken together, produces these amazing essays. And like I said, I've already got about 50 of them. I'm going to put those into this OWL course with clustered lessons. Like there will be some lessons on psychology and some on systems thinking, anything that we can think of. And it's going to be producing essays that are clustered around there. And you're going to have access to all those. Now, if you're one of the initial cohort, what you're going to get to do is nominate the titles for the next essays. And then I will use my expertise in writing research questions and updating the outline of Koala Writer, because Koala Writer gives me an outline of what to include in the essay before it writes it. And then I can add to that essay from my experience, and then it sends it to GPT-4 for the writing of the essay. And that's what makes it really powerful. I think it's the best of a human mind and an AI with live links into current trends of interest that I've ever seen. It absolutely is blowing me away. I'm using it to create a personalized AI teaching assistant for my own teaching, both for the military, and then my intention is to follow up this course with an AI bot that says basically ask the Ken bot, and it'll be able to access all of my writings and my over 5,000 hours of video lectures. So that's the project after next. But if you're part of the initial cohort, you get to nominate and then vote on these articles for publication. And then I have a certain allocation of words of output that I can get each month. And so I will continue to use my allocation every month to keep producing all of these essays and then dumping them all into the OWL course where everybody has access to it. And the beauty of that is that the initial cohort is going to essentially be a group mind that is going to be looking at the world from many different angles, and we're going to be all asking interesting questions, and then we're going to get to vote on that list, and then we will prioritize it top to bottom, and then we will just keep eating away at that list and then rapidly building out our OWL Wisdom course, which you will have access to for life if you're a member of the initial cohort in the next 24 hours. After that, my intention is to establish I will close that one-time payment option and then turn that course eventually into a non-voting monthly subscription option in which people can access the things that the initial cohort is selecting, but are not going to be able to have voting rights because that will just become unmanageable. So this is an opportunity to get in on the ground floor of what I consider to be, honestly, the most exciting opportunity in our community of practice. I say in the last 10 years, but maybe ever. I have been working my tail off for the last month on AI in conjunction with the military, with academic research, and with DARPA, the guys who invented the internet. I'm working on a project with them. And AI has my total focus right now on ways that we can improve our decision making by partnering with AI in an intelligent way. Because the research that we're doing is identifying the limits of AI, but also the power of AI, and then trying to figure out how to partner AI with the human to improve all of our decision making. And I can't tell you where it's all going to go, except that it's already making a big difference in the way I'm making decisions, the way I'm teaching, and all that stuff too. So I say all that simply to say that this is an opportunity in the next 24 hours to get in on this. This link is live at the Patreon page, but if you copy that down, you can get it. Now, that course right now is priced at $5,000 because that's what I intend the future price of this to be. But if you plug in the coupon 1,000, you'll get that course for 1,000. If you plug in 2,000, you'll get to pay. You'll pay 2,000. You'll pay 2,000, but I will also give you a week of personalized coaching from me, and I've been training a Socratic coaching AI partner, and that project looks very, very promising. And then you'll get a weekly coaching session with me in order to help develop that into a really powerful coaching tool, and that's what you get at the 2,000 level. Out of that project, I think, is going to be the next big project, which is developing the robot. If you opt in at 3,000, you'll get to be one of the select few who can take advantage of the AI robot early when we develop it. I have no idea when that's going to be, but that's the next big project, and I'm going to test fire it on, probably 5, not more than 10 people. And so if you lock in at 3,000, then you'll get to be one of those early movers whenever that happens. I think that's going to be a good deal. But that's what you get for the 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000. But again, that link is open for about 24 more hours because I've got to put a final bid in. My own window to upgrade my lifetime membership with Koala and ChatGPT-4 closes in about 36 hours. So I am judging community interest to see how much interest there is in this to determine how much access I want to get from the suppliers. So just wanted to put that out there before we get into the review of the courses, and that gives you a chance to think about it in the background. And then if you just go to Patreon, you'll see I've put a dozen of these articles in there already, and they've all been just amazing. And you can find those on Patreon, and that's a sample of the kinds of quality articles this thing does. It's already operating at a high graduate school level. Here's what I'm already using GPT-4 and Koala for. I sit on a number of doctoral dissertation committees as the methods expert, and I use the combination of those two pieces of software to help me as I evaluate and improve the doctoral dissertation proposals of 20 different doctoral candidates right now. I've already used it on 20 of them, and it is just astonishing how much better I am just as a result of using this tool. So this is a chance for all of us to get smart on it, not just in trading, but in other things as well. That's the intention of the Owl Wisdom course, is to go beyond just the direct technical trading, but actually into some of the other elements of human decision making, even beyond trading. To me, there's such a strong connection between the way we make decisions in trading and decisions we make in life. It's always about risk and reward and trade-off decisions and values-based judgment and performance. And so I'm really excited to announce this as an opportunity. And this is a chance, like I said, ground floor. So there's that. All right, let's where we want to go to. I guess we want to get to. Is it here? Yeah, I mean, you can already see on the left-hand side, these are all the articles that I already have. Executive coaching, music and stress management, coaching cultural impacts in the professions, nonviolent communication, Socratic questioning, personal productivity improvement through the use of Japanese Kanban techniques, root cause analysis. I mean, it's just everything that I've been using in my life as a standard decision-making tool or analytical lens. I'm running through here and improving my performance in all of these typical professional ways that I think about problem solving and decision-making. So that's the strongest case I can make for this thing, which is I think it's transformational. Now, let me find where we are here. Okay, let's go to the slopes. All right, so we're looking at the slopes of the 30-period regression line Z-scores. Up until AI, this was the best idea I'd had. And now I feel almost childlike in my simplicity. But this is pretty good stuff here, too. So we see the S&P is continuing to rise on this latest swing move up. Technology has started to cool off a little bit. Energy is still playing catch-up and has more room to go, as are the materials. And finance has really come a long way. And we noticed this week that the big banks, especially J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs to a lesser extent, are really benefiting from the weakness in KRE, which was the regional banks. As those began panic selling, money was migrating to the big banks, and it looks like, based on earnings forecasts and earnings reports, that J.P. Morgan is the real clear winner in the big bank space. But this is the only concerned area here. We'd like to see the market has to get through the key price level of 420, and it's not going to do that if tech is continuing to decay. So if we can get tech to resume, then the combination of a rising tide lifting all these boats, there's a good chance for the S&P to get through 420. But made the case for that, I think, pretty well last night. Worth listening to again. Or for the first time if you didn't hear it. Inside the comparison between XLP, which is the staples, and XLY, which is consumer discretionary. The staples, this is like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Walmart. These things have been crushing it, especially McDonald's. Wow. And then discretionary is really just kind of keeping pace with the broad market. You know, the three biggest symbols in XLY, oddly enough, are Tesla, Amazon, and Home Depot, which you think about consumer discretionary, yeah, electric vehicles, all of your goodies, and then a decision to improve your home rather than buying doodads. But that has been lagging the market a little bit, I think, because of the weakness in Tesla and Amazon to a lesser extent, which is, I think, being affected by the tech sector too. But the old reliables are continuing to crush it. And so those are the names that I would look at as, going forward for continuity and continuation patterns. All right, we're going to take a look at 3 sets, trade frames that Dan has offered up to us here. And, first one is Cliff Natural Resources, and we're looking at the daily and the 30. And so the daily is kind of put in this, after the sell-off here, is kind of put in this like a channel type of a trade, and it closed very poorly on Friday at the bottom of the channel. And so what that sets up is this shelf looking thing right here, that you wouldn't be surprised for it to find support here, because each time it's come down to this level 1, 2, 3 times, it's put in a 1 or 2 or 3 day burst. So the argument that this could go back to here is non-controversial, right? So I would look at this as the upper limit, this 1850. That's this peak right in here. So a recovery move from here to 1850 is not crazy. And so if I draw that as a risk box of about 20 cents, maybe 25 cents, I could see the argument for a 4-hour move back to this price level. But also, if it just gets to here, you get a 2-to-1 move just to this support. So to me, the move to the downside is an automatic one. Easy to see. But I wouldn't neglect the other side of the trade, that a breakout above the PSAR flip, that you ought to be looking to get long around 1760, which means that you end up getting a yellow zone or a risk box or something like that, and then you're just ready to play it out of that zero state in either direction. So I think that's a good frame. Dan's that making sense to you? I thought I saw him. Oh, I thought I saw Dan was in here earlier. Guess not. It will make sense to him when he hears that. All right, the next one up is CVS. And you other guys, go ahead and chime in. We only have 4 of us in here tonight, so if you want to get on the radio, that's fine. Let me know if that was clear. Next one up is CVS. So this one has been, this CVS has been a Godzilla type of a trade. It gave us about a 10-day really positive trade in here, and then it has been collapsing, and it has come down right to the daily PSAR is ready to flip. All right, and then what it did Friday was establish a base here at about 74.39, and this is another one of those, just like CLF, that if this breaks, that's a clear downside move, and you can see where he's identified support levels from previous prices that are off the chart. And what he's identified as the risk box is this little piece right here at the top of the PSAR. And I would also say that there's a 2-hour trade to here that's easy to see. So I would be willing to take that in either direction. And then if it can break out from there, the next support level is here to the top of that PSAR, which gives you about another 2. So here's a case of 1, 2, 3, 4. And you have a perfect 0 state right here. And now you're ready to follow that in either direction. And I would just go for it. The downside is much easier to believe in, right? And the reason for that is the weight of psychology is all on the pain. Yeah, there was about a 10-day surge where it went from 74 to 76, about, 5% move. But it also has had about 6 days when it was supposed to recover, but it didn't, and it closed poorly. So it feels like this enthusiasm was short-lived and is being replaced by a return to respect the big, long downward trend that brought it down to this level. And to that end, I would look, if I'm getting short right here at this break, my second position would be on this break. If it breaks below that support level, I'd have 2 positions on that short. So this would be a tactical trade to get some money in hand, and then a second position right there. Check or hold. All right, so the last one is looking at Devon Energy. There's a question here, just a second. Any limits on re-entries? No. Each trade that I take that's a re-entry, it's just an entry. And each one of those trades is one of the next 1,000 trades. I fully when you have prices collapsed into a really tight little box, I fully expect it to go once, twice, 3 times, 4 times while it's trying to find its way. And those aren't really like false breakouts. They're just moves that didn't go any further. False breakout suggests that like there's some kind of hidden ulterior trapping motive for people that are trying to get you, and like there was some deception going on. No, all it means is that, there's some population of potential buyers over here that are waiting to come in and buy that thing and send it north. And so some number of those guys decide to go on the first one, so they come over with whatever money they have, and it moves at a certain distance. But then the other buyers aren't persuaded. So it wasn't like there was a bunch of guys over here trying to figure out how to trap you. This is guys that are buyers and sellers that are engaged in a tug of war about where to move that price. And it just goes in surges. And the people that win this are the resilient ones who can trade at a level that doesn't blow them up on the first or second pull. I don't expect to get it right on the first or second move. If it works, that's great. But if it doesn't, I'm not surprised, and I don't lose any enthusiasm. I don't lose my soul over that. I just say that that's natural, normal behavior inside of price. And as long as I've got as long as I have an entry that gives me a reasonable effort for 2 to 1 in the direction it's going, I'm ready to go. Yeah. So the important part of this is if these little, if you want to call it a false breakout, I don't disagree, but we want that limited, to a. If this thing gets you long here and then it reverses right away, I just get out at a 0 or a 0.3, and that feels like a 0.7 win. So I'm not sticking around until it hits me with a full 1-hour loss. The 1-hour loss has just protected me against disaster. But if there's not an indication that it's working right away, I just get out of it. I don't care. It's like poker players muck 70% of the cards, of the hands. The good ones only play about 30% of the hands. So 2/3 of the time they just lose their little ante and wait for cards. That doesn't, like, if they don't get good cards, that doesn't say, oh, I guess I'm not a good poker player. What's wrong with me that I'm not getting good cards? They don't think like that. They just wait for cards. And you got to be disinterested about it and say, nope, I paid my little small fee to get into the position. It didn't play, so I mucked it right away. That's the least surprising result of all. That will keep you sharp and ready to trade in either direction. Okay. So, Devon Energy. So, we saw on the chart with the RL30s that XLE has been doing very well. XLE has made a nice rebound and is running up. And that's what's helping propel Devon Energy on this out of this sell-off here, right? And what we've got here is a COTA 2. It was, what is it going to do when it was testing this support level? And it voted one more to the upside and then pulled back just a little bit. Here was that first surge all the way up to Z3, and then it recovered back to here. But it maintained support levels here. And then Friday, in the last hour and a half, it actually closed with buying pressure. And that was guys that were willing to hold that over the weekend. So he's framed out a trade that looks, again, entry here with a risk box at the PSAR. Nice tight risk. You know, that looks like about 50 cents from 70 to 20. And there's a 2R move available to 56.73, which is this peak right here. And then if it breaks above that, remember, that's not even at Z2 yet. If it breaks above this, then you should have your stop moved up to lock in the gains. And then if you add a second position, try to lock in that second leg up. So that looks pretty good to me. All right. All right. That's everything I have on the trade frames. And we'll get this published and posted. I need to get that video out so that people understand their opportunity because the clock is ticking. All right. Thanks a lot for your kind attention, guys, and we will see you in the near future.